Hello YouTube, it's CM Maritime History here, back in another video, and tonight I'm talking about the USS Maine from 1889, which was a catalyst for the Spanish-American War. Pretty much the same deal as the Lusitania of World War One, and pretty much the Benares of World War Two. In response, excuse me, in response to the delivery of the Brazilian ironclad battleship Riachuelo, 1893, and the acquisition of other modern armored warships from Europe by Brazil, Argentina, and Chile, the head of the House Naval Affairs Committee, Hillary A. Herbert, stated to Congress, in this famous quote, "If all this old navy of ours were drawn up in battle array in mid-ocean and confronted by Riachuelo, it is doubtful whether a single vessel bearing the American flag would get back in port." These developments helped bring to a head a series of discussions that have been taking place in the Naval Advisory Board since 1881. The board knew at that time that the U.S. Navy could not challenge any major European fleet. At best, they could wear down an opponent's merchant fleet and hope to make some progress through general attrition there. Moreover, projecting a naval force abroad through the use of battleships ran counter to the government policy of isolationism. The two sides remained essentially deadlocked until Riachuelo manifested. Oh, I see. Sorry, I lost my space. I didn't lose my face. I lost my space. The wooden design for Maine was from Theodore D. Wilson, who served as the chief constructor for C&R and was a member of the Naval Advisory Board in 1881. He had designed a number of other warships for the Navy. The wooden design for the USS Texas was from a British designer, William John, who was working at the Bear Shipbuilding Company at that time. Both designs resembled the Brazilian battleship Riachuelo, having the main gun turrets sponsored out over the side of the ships, and Echelon. The wooden design for Maine, though conservative and inferior to other contenders, may have received special consideration due to the requirement that one of the two new American ships be American designed. Congress authorized construction of Maine on the 3rd of August 1886, and her keel was laid down on October 17th, 1888, at the Brooklyn Navy Yard. She was the largest vessel built in the U.S. Navy Yard up to that time. Maine was launched on November 18th, 1889, and sponsored by Alice Tracy Wilmerding, the granddaughter of Navy Secretary Benjamin F. Tracy. Not long afterwards, a reporter wrote from Marine Engineer and Naval Architect magazine. It cannot be denied that the Navy of the United States is making rapid strides towards taking a credible position among the navies of the world, and the launch of the new armored battleship Maine from the Brooklyn Navy Yard is the most powerful unit in the United States fleet of turret ships. In his 1890 annual report to Congress, the Secretary of the Navy wrote, "The Maine stands in a class by herself and expected the ship to be commissioned by July 1892. A 3-year delay ensued while the shipyard waited for nickel steel plates for Maine's armor. Bentham Steel Company promised the Navy 300 tons per month by December 1889, and ordered heavy castings and forging presses from the British firm of Armstrong Whitworth in 1886 to fulfill its contract. The equipment did not arrive until 1889, pushing back Bentham's timetable. In response, Navy Secretary Benjamin Tracy secured a second contract with the newly expanded Homestead Mill of Carnegie, Phillips and Company. In November 1890, Tracy and Andrew Carnegie signed a contract for Homestead to supply 6,000 tons of nickel steel. Homestead was what author Paul Krauss calls the last Union stronghold in the steel mills of the Pittsburgh district. The mill had already weathered one strike in 1882 and a lockout in 1889 in an effort to break the Union there. Less than 2 years later came the Homestead Strike of 1892, one of the largest, most serious disputes in U.S. labor history. Maine was commissioned on September 17, 1895, under the command of Captain Aaron S. Crowninshield. On November 5, 1895, Maine steamed to Sandy Bay, New Jersey. He anchored there for 2 days, then proceeded to Newport, Rhode Island for fitting out and test firing for torpedoes. After a trip later that month to Portland, Maine, she reported to the North Atlantic Squadron for operations, training maneuvers and fleet exercises. Maine spent her active career with the North Atlantic Squadron, operating from Norfolk, Virginia, along the east coast of the United States and the Caribbean. On April 10, 1897, Captain Charles Dwight Sigsbee relieved Captain Crown and Shield as commander of the Maine. In January 1898, Maine was sent from Key West, Florida, to Havana, Cuba, to protect U.S. interests during the Cuban War of Independence. 3 weeks later, at 21:40 military time, on the 15th of February, an explosion on board Maine occurred in Havana harbor. Later investigations revealed that more than 5 tons of powder charges from the vessel's 6 and 10-inch guns had detonated, obliterating the forward third of the ship. The remaining wreckage rapidly settled in the bottom harbor. Most of Maine's crew were sleeping or resting in the enlisted quarters in the forward part of the ship when the explosion occurred. The 1898 U.S. Navy Surgeon General reported that the ship's crew consisted of 355, 26 officers, 290 enlisted sailors, and 39 Marines. Of these, there were 261 fatalities. 2 officers and 251 of the 290 enlisted sailors and Marines were either killed by the explosion or drowned. 7 others were rescued but soon died of injuries. 1 officer later died of cerebral affection, back then, what in modern day was known as shock. This is a political cartoon and newspaper article. Well, not article, but it's the headline and such. From the Washington, D.C. Wednesday Evening Times, February 16th, 1898. The cause of the accident was immediately debated. President McKinley was woken up to break the news. It was referred to as an accident. It was feared at first that she had been destroyed by Spanish, which of course meant war. Maine's destruction did not result in an immediate declaration of war with Spain, but the event created an atmosphere that precluded a peaceful solution. It found that the Spanish investigation found the explosion had been caused by spontaneous combustion of the coal bunkers, but the Sampson board ruled the explosion had been caused by an external explosion from a torpedo. The episode focused national attention on the crisis in Cuba. The McKinley administration did not cite the explosion as a casus belli, but others were already inclined to go to war with Spain over perceived atrocities and loss of control in Cuba. Advocates of war used the rallying cry to remember the Maine. The Spanish-American War began on April 21st, 1898, 2 months after the sinking. After a while, the people in Havana, they built a cofferdam, which is like, it's kind of like a tilted, rounded dam, or at least in the Maine's case, made of like big semicircles. And then Maine's wreck was in the middle, what was left of it at least. So they drained the water out of that so that people could see what the Maine looked like. And then what could be raised was raised, and what, wasn't of use was just left there and eventually salvaged. The mainmast sits at a, let me think. Oh, yes. Darn, I forgot what I just said. But anyway, what was salvaged, and oh, yes, I remember now. The mainmast is in a memorial somewhere. I forget where it is, but the USS Maine Memorial. But it's a sad story. You can see the newspaper here. 2 lieutenants are dead. Captain Sigsbee did live. This is a definitely biased newspaper that was torpedoed for sure. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this relatively short video on the Maine. I thought it was an interesting story when I read about it this morning. I had never heard about it before, but thought it was definitely cool to hear about. Excuse me. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Please remember to smash the like button and subscribe. And have a good day. Bye.